All right, we're back with Joyce, and you're continuing the evolution of your career, Joyce. So let's continue.
Well, I joined the National Speakers Association, and my mentor took me to a conference, and the fifth person she introduced me to was a man named Roger Herman. Roger and I ended up being together for 13 years. We wrote 5 books together. We consulted together. We actually spoke together on the platform. It was an amazing run and an amazing relationship. And unfortunately, he passed away in November of 2006. And I have carried on the company, the organization, in his absence. We were invited as futurists to join the Association for Professional Futurists, which was forming something like 15 years ago. Well, it could not have been. It was early in our relationship, though. It was probably like 94, 95. And we decided that it did make sense, and I'm very glad we did. It's a good organization that supports collegiality among futurists.
And now you're not where you want to be when you grow up yet, you said, right?
No, I'm never where I will. I'm fond of saying I'm becoming what I will be becoming. I'm constantly looking at where I am and what I want to evolve to next. I spent a lot of the time when I was on this cruise recently writing my next book, which is called Experience Rules: How Positive Stakeholder Experiences Will Drive Profit into the Future.
That makes sense. Let me ask you then, we focus on talent, anything related to talent in our firm, and attracting the right fit talent to companies. And everybody from when like I mentioned, I was talking to high school seniors earlier, to the most executive, successful person that I talked to, they all have what we call now, or the younger people have called, and I agree with it, quote unquote, their why. And I'd like you to tell us about your efforts in organizations like the Lifeboat Foundation, which I find very interesting. How there's examples of how leaders can offer to and create purpose, if you will, for their talent that ensures that they and their businesses are successful. That all important why that keeps them going to achieve what they want to achieve and to be leaders like they are.
Most entrepreneurs have a passion about their jobs,
right,
about their businesses. And when that passion is gone, if the entrepreneur does not leave that business, he or she is going to become ill. I've seen this time after time after time. And I have counseled my coaching clients, please don't, this doesn't make sense. And so they end up selling those businesses and moving to the next exciting project that will turn them on, that will make them feel excited about getting up in the morning. Because unless people are really jazzed, juiced about what they do, why do it?
Yeah, exactly. The worst feeling in the world is waking up in the morning and feeling terrible about what you have to go to.
True.
Yeah. It's not good. Unfortunately, there's probably a majority of people, unfortunately, that are in jobs that they wouldn't do if they had their choice. So if you can be fortunate enough to start, at an early age and develop that why of why you're doing things, then I think you've got the ability to be developed as leaders and then become leaders.
Yes. And the best leaders realize that they too are still evolving.
Right.
That they are becoming what they will be becoming.
Well, you can tell who leaders are. They're willing to be coached. The ones that need it the most aren't willing to be coached.
Ain't that the truth?
It ain't. It's truth, all right. I compare a lot of things to sports as well, in all aspects, and some of the most obvious. But one thing business executives and sports executives all tell me is they like to have consistent winning seasons. So for a business, it's profitable seasons, happy employees. For a sports team, it's not just winning the championship, because one sports executive told me that we obviously want to try to win the championship every year. That's the goal. We know it's not going to happen. What is mandated, we want to have a winning season every year. We talk about branding. We talk about branding a little bit for individuals and their employers. Talk to us about your opinion of how employees can now be true ambassadors of their company, and how you.
I think that leaders need to engender that feeling by being good leaders. And they can be good leaders by doing the kinds of things that I talked about as in the segment on enlightened leadership, and by doing additional things like leadership by walking around. They need to ask people what they think and not be afraid to listen, really listen to what those folks have to say. And then take that information, internalize it, and do something about it. Really look at how you can take that very valuable information and improve things. And I think the best leaders are always looking at how they can make things better. And if they ask their people who are on the front lines, and I always encourage leaders to go down to the front. That was in Trout and Reese's book, The 21 Immutable Laws of Marketing. Go down to the front. And I think that's a really good idea for leaders to do with their employees as well. Go down to the front. Talk to people. Talk to your frontline people. Find out what's going on in their hearts and in their minds. Reach them in a way that they get that you really care about them. And then take what you learn and implement it, because people support what they help to create. And you can even ask them to help you to work on these improvements and push them forward, and everybody wins. Absolutely everybody wins.
Yeah, you're so right. It's called buy-in.
and there's something that most organizations are not doing that some smart ones are. It's called intrapreneurship.
Exactly.
And it means giving ownership of some small piece of the organization to the employees, to your frontline employees. And it makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah, we work with a lot of clients that are ESOPs. And it obviously, a stake in something when it's yours, and you got a stake in it. It's a no-brainer. It works. And real quick, relating to what you said about going to the front line, I couldn't agree more. I remember the days when they didn't even have the head of production on the management board. Never mind the board of directors or anything like that, because they're in production. What do we need to have them on? That's the whole business.
Exactly.
I mean, and so it was kind of interesting that they would rationalize that at that time, but things have changed for the better. There's still a lot of management and leaders that aren't coachable, as we said, but it's changed. Board of directors are certainly getting more diverse. Not just men, women, black and white, but young, old. Diversity of skill sets, and things are happening. Which, but it also makes it more competitive for people now. But I agree with everything you're saying, and I think. The good news is for people that are winners and champions, the way they differentiate themselves is by being winners and champions, and not everybody can be a winner, unfortunately. The other thing I find, I'm sure you'd agree, is comparing to sports, is that the coaches that are recognized the most are the ones that have the most assistant coaches coaching somewhere else.
Okay.
It's a great legacy that works out. It means that they developed them. It means that they developed them. So,
yes.
So with that said, I got some personal questions. Not that personal, but personal questions.
Yes.
We'll start with this. Do you have a pet?
I have a cat. I'm a dog person who owns a cat.
That's kind of weird.
Miss Kitty is a very sweet cat.
That's her name, Miss Kitty?
I am highly allergic. She's really my husband's cat. And she is named Miss Kitty because she has 3 foxes for friends when she was a feral outside cat.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to share her water and her food with the foxes. And the foxes we named as Doc, Chester, and Marshall Dillon.
Very nice. Well, that's another family right in the midst there. Do you have a favorite activity or sport?
Yes, I do. Zip lining.
Oh, yes, Alaska. I forgot.
I love to go zip lining. This time, it was pouring down rain, and we were zipping right along. It's actually faster when you're zip lining in the rain than when you're zip lining in the sunshine.
Well, I won't go too far into it, but I've taken our annual guys trip with my 3 boys, and they want to go skydiving this time, and I think they're totally out of their mind, but that's another story we won't get into now.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show, let's say?
My favorite television show was HBO's Newsroom.
Oh, cool.
The Newsroom.
Good choice.
I loved that show. I just loved it. It was
We have a personal connection.
I'm sorry?
You have a personal connection to that show.
I do, yes, I guess. It was clearly my favorite of all time, though.
Cool. How about favorite book?
My favorite book is the one that I've given most often to others. It's called Illusions, Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach.
Oh, very cool. You have favorite music and food?
Well, I love the soundtrack to Somewhere in Time by John Barry, but typically I listen to smooth jazz.
I love it.
Chris Bodie, Dave Koz, David Benoit. I get to grooving with smooth jazz. I love to dance, and I do, whether
Awesome.
whether it's danceable or not.
Well, you know, Dave Koz, they do a cruise with Dave Koz, by the way. It's a jazz thing, do cruise like that. How about favorite food?
Well, wait, I have to give you one more, and that is New Age music.
Oh, there you go.
Because
Okay.
that's what I listen to when I work. I love New Age music, classical music also, but especially George Winston. I like piano New Age.
He's awesome.
My favorite food is lobster.
Oh, lobster.
It has to be fresh and it has to be steamed, and preferably a male.
Oh.
Lobster.
Oh, this is like when Harry met Sally here.
You asked.
That's great. Well, lobster rolls up in Maine are one of my favorites, so we'll go with that.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, you know, leaders do make a difference. Leaders make a profound difference every day to their people, to their organizations, and to the world.
Well, and that'll lead perfectly to our next video. Thanks.